Welcome to the Lock Shop with Nielson and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Lock Shop. Dusty with you. Huss will be by. P. Gregoire will be by. And we are getting in to the Masters today. Always, as a bunch of golf junkies like us, it's probably the most fun we have on a show the entire year. So thank you very much for being here. If you are joining us live today, we've got a bunch. I've got like 4 pages of notes and picks for the Masters today. So we'll certainly get into that. If you have not yet signed up for an account over at Coolbet, use the code LOCKSHOP when you do, and you get a 100% deposit bonus on initial deposit up to $200. And you have an EST parlay that will be. It's already up, actually. Let me hit this before we bring in the guys and hop into the golf, because it's going to be a full-blown golf episode coming up here. But tonight, the EST parlay. Now, I know Connor McDavid did skate, not with the group, skated, and will be a game-time decision tonight. The parlay right now is Leon Draisaitl with 2+ points, Hyman with a point, and the Oilers to win tonight against the Golden Knights at plus 290. So if you want to run with that, hit us up over on the exclusives page at plus 290 on the exclusives page over at Coolbet, and we can certainly discuss that maybe a little bit later on. I'll have a Lock Shop play of the day coming up on the Coolbet socials a little bit later on as well. So we will go there. Spency 5 cents, he says, one more Dallas goal would have been nice. Yes, it would have, wouldn't it? My God, I was hoping they'd bury an empty netter there, but they did not. The Kings also very much letting me down yesterday on the road against the Ducks when you're fighting for third place in the Pacific. That was pretty sad as well. But none of that matters. None of that matters. Light night tonight in the National Hockey League sets up perfectly for our Masters preview, which we are going to get to with myself, Huss, and P. Gregoire. Obviously, the golf portion of the Lock Shop is coming in hot right now after the boys being on Badia last week. And the field, it's just great to see a field like this. And I know it's the Masters. We get these fields at the Masters all the time, but with the PGA Tour fields that we've been seeing, and then whatever the hell's going on in LIV, to be able to dive into a field like this is absolutely incredible. So, Zach, if the boys are ready, let's bring them in here and let's dive into it, because we've got a lot to get to today. It is Masters Preview Show. My God, I'm excited, boys. How about you?
Cannot wait, fellas. I'm jealous that I'm on the road and Pat is at home and I wasn't able to wear my green jacket as a winner of the Masters with the Mo Gosselin Invitational, but I am a green jacket winner. I felt like I won a green jacket last week with Akshay, but this is it. This is the show we've been waiting for a very long time, and the tournament we've been waiting for. Basically since the end of major season last year, and it is about time to get going.
Patty, you are looking excellent today, by the way. My goodness, you are playing the part. If this guy doesn't deliver a winner today, nobody will. You know, it looks good, man.
Well, you got to stay hot after Bhatia.
Yes.
That was unbelievable cash. We did the victory lap, but I didn't even get the victory lap further. I had Hideki top 20. One of my Greggy Golf special also cashed. Easy sweat. So, needless to say, the pocket's feeling a little bit heavier this week going into the Masters, which when I display my card, you might be seeing me just absolutely spray the board responsibly. Of course, staying cool.
Yes.
Of course. But coming off a winner is an absolute dangerous game you play. And of course, that's why we're tongue-in-cheek here. But of course, remember, folks, stay cool, know your limits, and still, again, enjoy the Masters. It is by far my favorite event and by far my favorite betting event of the calendar. No doubt.
Before we get lost in the picks, because you know we will, let's talk a little bit about that promotion, Patty. You were laying out to Huss and I in the text yesterday. You, obviously, being a part of Coolbet, have a better grasp on it for us. I don't want to screw it up. So explain to people what you guys have going on here for these majors.
Yeah, of course. It all starts with the first major, the Masters, but this is a contest that runs for all 4 majors. And I know the lock shoppers, WSTers, ESTers, the nasties love boasting and love putting where their money where their mouth is. Well, this is the perfect opportunity. There's a little bit of a contest going on for all masters. So basically all majors. Basically what you do is you earn points during all 4 golf majors this season, winning different outcomes across a bunch of different markets, including outrights, head-to-heads, 3-balls, group bets, you name it. So if your outright winner does win, you win 10 points multiplied by the odds. So, for example, if you bet on a golfer at, let's say, 20-1 odds, maybe a Brooks Koepka, although I think he's at 25 at Coolbet. A lot of other books he's at 20. Let's not get off track, though. If they do win, you earn 20 points times the 10 points. So the higher the odds, the bigger your potential winnings. And of course, obviously, for some of those smaller bets, like the heads-to-heads, these you'll earn 10 points multiplied by the odds. So if you do bet on a golf, and again, this goes into decimal. So the one thing, if you're confused by the points, if you flip it over to decimal, if you're not playing decimal, that's how you'll be able to find out how the points are accumulated. But this is the way that we are basically going to break down for those head-to-heads odds. If you win a bet with, let's say, 1.9 odds and they do win, then you will score 19 points. So take away that decimal point and then you'll win there. So basically all you need to do is bet a $10 minimum stake on any major golf tournament market. So the Masters this week, the PGA Championship, the US Open, and of course the Open Championship coming up. All you'll do is you'll click any eligible bet. You don't need to opt in or anything. All you got to do is click that tick box that says major contest, and then you will be entered. And if you're on the page here, you can scroll down. You'll see leaderboard. And there's the leaderboard there. So throughout the entire season, you'll be able to see where you stand from 1 to 10. We've got some awesome prizes as well. The number 1 prize winner will be a Coolbet golf bag and prize pack, and of course, a 500 gift card to fill that golf bag and some of the other swag, some other awesome prizes as well.
Let's go get this thing. I'm sorry, I was distracted. Zacticum was trying to autofocus the camera, and his hand just kept going back and forth.
Shout out me for being an absolute pros pro.
I know.
And not being distracted by that. Although part of me was Zacticum trying to, was he waving me down saying we're not live, we've lost audio.
It's funny.
The eclipse actually did end the world. I don't know what was going on, but I kept my cool.
People are describing me as in VHS and Huss in HD, high def. Huss, you look great. You look like you're like here live today. My God.
Oh, do I really? Well, you know what? Shout out to we've got a good CTO and Michael Remus. He says, use this camera up here. I got you this light. You got to take on the trip with you.
Yeah, you look sharp, dude. I'm jealous.
And the fact of the matter is, it is funny. I'm using this laptop, and it is a very good laptop. The reason why we have this laptop is because the last time we were in Nashville, our laptop famously melted somewhere in between the hotel and Bridgestone Arena for day 2 of the draft. That was how hard we were grinding on WST at the draft. We melted a freaking laptop. But anyways, it's we're good to go. I have shaved. I feel significantly.
You look like $1 million bucks, buddy. You look like $1 million bucks today.
Significantly better today than I did yesterday, pushing through after a very fun Monday.
I did give you a shout out on the show this morning on the Nielsen show. I said, I think Huss pushed through pretty hard on the lock shop yesterday. I also said you basically have to have like a limb amputated to not be here today. So I knew you were going to show up ready to roll today because it is our favorite show of the year. I mean, this is exciting.
Honestly, I mean, the excitement, like all the majors are great, but the Masters is special, and it's the first one. I mean, we have waited since. I mean, I guess that like with the schedule being what it is right now, basically, when's the last one? Is it early August or late July? Like,
it's been a long time.
They didn't get into the FedEx Cup playoffs and then football season. Oh God, football season. Speaking of fun shows, let's not get too distracted.
All right, so as we put this together and the rest of the episode, we'll give you the keyword like around, I don't know, 11:40 today, and then we'll call a winner at 11:50. What do you guys look at? Like, Patty, how do you, because, I mean, it's overwhelming for sure. There's lots of different things you can get on. You texted us yours earlier. You're like, I got 5 outrights. I got 2 of these. I got 2 of these. And then I got 2 others. And I'm just looking at mine right now. I got 5 outrights. I got a couple of guys that would be longer shots in a tournament like this. I got some, top 10s, top 5s as well. And then, some categories. I got top Asian, top lefty. Like, there's a bunch of stuff to get to here. So, Patty, how do you put together your board? What do you look at? What are you looking at when you're looking at these outrights?
Oh boy, it's a lot of different things, and there's so many different trends out there. You know me, any tournament, I'm always really looking at like recent form. I look at some of the analytics, and then of course history. There is no golf course, and maybe any sporting event where your course knowledge, obviously course being golf, but knowledge of the venue matters more than Augusta National. It is so imperative. We see so many players just be able to step up in the big moments and have great showings. And then there are elite players, generational talents like a Rory McIlroy, who hasn't been able to figure it out and win here. But I look a lot at course history, major championship pedigree, guys that have won, guys that have competed. I also look at guys that can scramble well, that can putt well. Augusta obviously is a place where you got to get creative. Again, knowing how to play the course. It comes back to that. Also very, very important. But iron play is so important.
The approach is so important here, right? Like
the approach game, the iron play is so important. And that's why Tiger Woods, during his prime, owned this place. That's why Scotty Scheffler is, plus 450 or whatever he's at, because of his strokes gained. Approach numbers are just so much better than everyone else. I also, another thing that I kind of look at is normally, you guys know, I'm not exactly the big game hunter. I'm not looking way down the board, but usually I like finding a little bit of a longer shot. Majority of my picks for at least outrights are near the top to the middle, like that 30, anywhere between 20 to 30 to 1, maybe up to 50 to 1. But, I'm not really seeing a ton of value at the hundreds to ones because we don't normally see guys come out of nowhere and win this tournament. Maybe Danny Willett is the last one that comes to mind. So for me, those are probably the major things that I look into. And I think when I lay out some of my outright bets, a lot of those things are kind of be at play here. The reason why I bet them outright to win.
Huss, how'd it come together for you, buddy?
Well, you know what? I mean, I have been working on this for a while, looking ahead and, doing the odd sprinkle when we've won a partner parlay or something like that, just going back and referring to the upcoming odds and just trying to get on numbers that I thought were good. And then, as I kind of told you on Monday, for fear of being in a locked out zone, I had to jump on a bunch of bets on Friday night before I left south of the border to make sure that I'm in. Now, luckily, I found out that wasn't the case, so I have been able to add a few and get in on the Masters contest, which was great. I would not have wanted to have missed that. But as far as actually making the selections, listen, there's some guys that are, just your guys, vibes guys, you're liking it. And then others, you have to look at course history. And the Masters the course history is more predictive here than anywhere else. And to be honest, it's not even close. No. So, you can look at guys that have great track records and I think legitimately project them to have similar sorts of results. Not necessarily on winning, but certainly if guys have been consistently contending, I think that's something that, can really play into it. And that's something that's sort of shaped a number of my wagers so far today. And then, as always, especially coming off a big week on a 50 to 1er, sometimes there's just some things that look good, look fun to be in on, and you pull the trigger on that one too. So I've kind of gone through all of the outrights, added one in particular that actually made my contest bet that I didn't have earlier that I sort of like the number that we're getting right now at Coolbet. And then kind of, the week and right now, I think what a lot of people be doing after the show or while we're going in, diving into the groups,
Yes,
diving into some of the other offerings. And the one thing that I didn't do too much before that I sort of have up on my device right now is some of these head-to-heads. And as I say, when the account is flush and you have the ability to maybe expand the card a little bit, I mean, you don't want to be going against bets that you already made. I mean, that's the one thing about putting 20 outrights. I mean, if you do that, by the time you can only win one on an outright, by the time that's in, you might just be breaking even or slightly ahead, depending on what you bet on that. So I've sort of gone and pivoted to a few of the other markets along the lines of with some guys that I generally like that I think that can contend and be there on Sunday afternoon.
Patty froze. We're going to reconnect Pat. Zach, to come if you're out there, come throw Pat back in. And then we're going to give you, so what we're going to do is we're going to get into our outrights, and we've expanded, I know I've expanded my outrights a little bit more than we usually look at in a tournament like this. I was just texting with one of my buddies, Huss, and I was saying, what do you think? He goes, maybe this is Rory's year. Let's just quickly hit on Rory because we know what he's been searching for. We know that he's been close. We know that he hasn't got it done. Are you sniffing around Rory McIlroy at all at this year's event? He's sitting right up there, 12-1. He's the guy. Him and John Rahm both 12-1. Scotty Scheffler way up there, but where are you at on Rory heading into the Masters this year?
Listen, I would love for Rory to win. I'm a Rory fan. I think that if Rory was able to win it, it would be an incredible story for golf. But I'm not on him. I mean, there's nothing I've seen in his game so far this year that's told me, okay, this is the time. Although maybe he'll sneakily, this is the sort of time that he will pop when it doesn't seem like the main story is, will Rory get that green jacket? I mean, we're focusing on the live guys. We're focusing on Tiger Woods. Scotty Scheffler is the guy when it comes to it. So, and that number actually has drifted back. I mean, pre-tournament last week, it was 10. It was 11 on Monday. It's 12 right now. So if you had been holding out, thinking about maybe a little Rory wager, now's a good time to get in on it. And as I say, I would love to see him do it. It would probably be painful, but he's usually been such a short number. I've never bet Rory McIlroy at the Masters before. And, unless it was a number that was just too good to stay away from, I haven't been on it. And to be honest, because of just how good he is, how popular he is, I'm not sure that's ever coming. So, of those big favorites right now, if you're jumping on a guy, I mean, if you can hold your nose and put a bigger bet down on Scotty Scheffler plus 475, do it. I did that at the Players Championship. Kind of gone a different way for this one. But to me, the guy at the top, there's two guys really. Xander is automatic at this tournament, it seems. I mean, I think he's 8 of 9 times in the top 10.
It's unbelievable how good he's been here, man. Like he's on my list. He's on my list.
He's so consistent. So it's 16-1. He's that guy that I think, if you're looking for a value play of a top player that can get in, Xander is it. Brooks is at 20. Brooks just finds a way to be there at the end. And the guy's a winner. Like, more so than probably any of the live guys. I don't think he's fazed at all about the conversations and everything that happened around it. And a guy that I will get to, one of my favorite picks, and I think he's quite popular considering how the line has moved since last week to right now, is former Green Jacket winner, Hideki Matsuyama, whose game has been great this year and seems to be trending in an awesome direction. And it's a big reason why he's in only at 20-1 right now after hanging a 33 on him last week.
All right, let's get into it. As somebody mentioned earlier, very, very fortunate freeze for Patty there. We didn't even know that he disconnected until he texted me. He's like, hey, I'm back in the waiting room waiting to get in. I was like, oh, I thought you were just sitting still waiting your turn. Patty, it is your turn. Let's get into our outrights here, buddy. Who do you like to win this thing?
I mentioned around that 20, a number being the sweet spot for it. I'm going to start there with a guy that's won a green jacket, a guy that has great success here, and a guy that I think you could make the case that might be the second best golfer on the planet right now, and that's Hideki Matsuyama, 20-1. Since winning the Genesis in February, he's finished T12, T6, and T7 in his last 3 starts. He's 11 strokes gained total. He's third in tee to green. He's 31st at approach, and he's first in around the green. Not only is he on a heater, I mentioned, he's won here. He already has a green jacket, but he's also finished inside the top 20 in 8 of his last 9 starts here. 3 of those being top 10s. So Hideki is my first outright bet. Going to have a little bit of Hideki later on as well. It would not be a majors tournament. It would not be a lock shop without me betting on Brooks Koepka. 25-1. This is by far the best price that I've seen in the market in Brooks. I've seen him as low as 18 at some points, up to 20, but this is by far the best. And I'm not really going to dive into too many numbers because let's be honest, this is Brooks. He's out of majors. This is just no doubt. This is when he comes to play. A lot of the guys on LIV scare me when it comes to competing, being able to flip that switch. Well, LIV doesn't matter. Brooks was doing that when he was on tour. He flipped the switch when it was a major. That's all he cared about. So nothing has changed since joining the LIV Tour. One thing that I will throw out, Justin Ray, I know he was on your program. He mentioned that the average 36-hole deficit for a Masters winner over the past 20 years is only 1.9 strokes. Basically, this means you need someone with stones to win this. You need someone who's not going to crumble down the stretch. And who better than Brooks Koepka to do that? He's a 5-time major championship, 2 runner-up finishes here as well. I love Brooks Koepka. He's also going to have a chip on his shoulder. He dominated through 3 rounds. And for the first time ever in his career at a major, we actually saw him crumble a little bit. Yes, Jon Rahm was phenomenal behind him, but he blew that one. I think he's going to want to get this back and add a green jacket to his closet. A guy I've already talked about who I bet at 30-1. He's now down to 28-1. Joachim Niemann. I don't love this play as much as I did when I first bet it. I don't know if I played at 28-1, but I probably would. He's probably the hottest golfer on that is not playing on the PGA Tour right now. 3 wins and 4 top 5 finishes since November, and one of those was a full field DP World Tour event. So also has a little bit of course history here. His best finish came last year, T16, and he's made the cut in 3 straight years. Every year he plays this course, he gets better and better. So if that trend continues, I expect him to be within the top 10 and expect him to compete as well. He's an elite ball striker, an elite iron player that fits course history as well. Arguably my favorite play of the Masters, Sahith Theegala, 50-1. There's a lot of talk about debutantes this week with a lot of studs making their debut at Augusta this year. And Theegala had quite the impressive debut last year, finishing 9th, which was his first top 10 appearance in a major. He has 4 top 10s this season, which includes some of the best tournaments we've seen on tour so far. The Sentry, the Waste Management, the API, and the Players. So clearly he's not afraid of an event with a really impressive field. When you look at his analytics, off the charts as well. 5th in stroke gain, 13 in strokes gain putting, 11th in greens and regs, 14th in strokes gained off the tee. He's 17th in par 5 birdie or better percentage, which is absolutely massive for this golf course. And a big reason, again, Huss, you said vibes. I'm glad you brought up vibes. Sahith is just a vibes guy for me here at Master. He's very Jordan Spieth-esque, where, and you might be wondering what I mean by that. There's going to be times they're going to cut to Sahith. He's going to be behind a tree trying to find his ball through straw grass, but he has that magic where he's has the capability to make bad situations turn into electric moments. We saw him last year with that chip that was very Tiger-esque. He just has that factor in him. It seems like he's a big game player. He's getting better and better. That top 9, top 10 finish he had last year really instills that this is a guy that could become one of the better Augusta players we'll see throughout the next few years. So you might say, well, why you're talking about Spieth, then why aren't you betting on Spieth? Well, Theegala, yes, doesn't have a green jacket like Spieth does, but Theegala has the form that we're not seeing quite from Spieth. So I'll go Sahith, my best bet at 50-1. And I'll round things up with a quick one here. This is just a pure principal play. Our guy, Akshay Bhatia.
Of course you are. Of course you are.
You have to let it ride. You have to let it ride. So I'm taking him. It's a very small sprinkle. He did us good last week. I am a Bhatia boy. I am going to keep riding him. It's a principal play for me. So I'm going 100-1. He's going to be on my card later. I hope one of you guys have a certain player that you guys normally see on my card that's not here, and it's because I don't like the number. I probably will end up betting it. I think you guys know who I'm probably talking about, but I will. It would not be a Swede feeling.
Yeah, I don't have him. He's not on my list. He's not on my list, but let's see what Huss has. Huss, who do you got for your outrights here for the Masters?
He's on my list, and he is on my list, unfortunately, and I think I might have to repop him because he's got a better number now than he did when I left. I mean, that's you can, and I mean, listen, I'm on a few of the guys that Pat has just mentioned, and it was quite interesting. I mean, if you bet Hideki early, you got a great number. There's a ton of steam on him.
Yes,
it's not as good right now. Sahith's as well. Oberg's the other way. I'm seeing a 33 hung up on Ludwig right now.
Okay, I could sign up for that.
It was 28 earlier. It was him and Neiman at 28. He's actually drifted back a little bit into the group of 33s. The other guy that's gone down big time is Vic. And I don't know what's up with Vic. He's so bloody talented, though. I mean, I'm staring at this 35-1 on Victor Hovland and thinking, if you had told me a month ago we were going to have a 35 available at Augusta for Vic Hovland, I might have been talking to somebody in finance to try to get an extra line of credit or something like that. So anyways, but I won't spend too much time on Ludwig, but, he was a guy that I think he's got this incredible game. He's one of the debutantes. Very difficult for those guys to win. I think you're probably better off looking at a top 20, a top 10 bet for Ludwig. But on principle, I did get a piece of him beforehand. Unfortunately, my number was not as good as it is right now. As far as my outrights, I will start it off with, basically where Pat said, and I won't rehash everything about Hideki, but Hideki is a guy that I'd been betting earlier on this year. And if you recall, guys, at the beginning of the PGA Tour, we were getting like 50s on Hideki in
crazy
fields that were nothing like the quality of the Masters. He's been very consistent week in and week out. He's continually built, and in a lot of ways, he is sort of built for the Masters. And here's another thing. And again, I have not in the past been a guy, and probably to my detriment, spending too much time on tee times and the weather. But right now, there is a real significant chance that the guys in the afternoon tomorrow are going to be dealing with quite a bit, in the morning. And this might delay it. So I guess we'll see what happens. But if you recall when he won, he came out after the course had softened up and was just throwing. He was a sniper, man. He was just throwing it at the hole. And that was a huge part of the reason why that he won. I'm really pumped. I mean, he's 20-1 right now. Friday night when I was making those bets, my biggest one went in on Hideki, and that was at 33-1. So I'll be pulling for Hideki. He's going to show up on the card in a couple of other different ways as well. But Hideki Matsuyama is the guy that is in and sort of at the top of my card. Okay, I'm going backwards. I got to get back to the outrights. Okay, well, and Sahith is another guy that we liked, and again, I bet him not necessarily that I think he's going to win, but 66-1 seemed like such a great number on a guy that has a game that really does translate to this golf course. So I've got a little bit of play on him. Naturally, Corey Connors has been so good and so consistent at this tournament. You got to have a little piece of Corey. And, obviously in the past, it's always been fun to bet him, a top Canadian, a few others in the field. But those two guys, and then, of course, Vic Hovland, who was an earlier bet based on where he's at. And I know he hasn't been good, and everyone knows that this is my number one guy. But, I mean, Finau at 40 at a place where, and again, we talk about course history. Tony Finau's course history is phenomenal here. I mean, he was right there with Tiger Woods in 2019 and could have easily won that tournament if Tiger didn't, revert to classic vintage Tiger when running away with it. So those were the bets that I had before. I have added one, and I think the number's great. I think he's totally under the radar right now, and that's Matthew Fitzpatrick. And we think about Matthew Fitzpatrick and his course history here before, his pedigree, major champion. He's just not a flashy guy. We don't, hear from him too much. He doesn't really give us amazing quotes. I think people are completely sleeping on Fitz. He's got his braces off. I mean, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of
things. He's a
grown-up
now.
There's a lot of things
huge.
going on right now. But listen, he is at 40-1 right now. I think he should be in and around 25 with those other guys that we had just sort of mentioned. So Matty Fitzpatrick at 40-1, one of my favorite sort of value plays. I am thinking, and again, I've got a couple smaller ones, bigger bets on Fitz and on Hideki Matsuyama. I've really, as opposed to other ones, and this is a lot of thanks to Akshay, kind of got into more of the groups and some other ones that sort of work with it. The more you mention Brooks Koepka at 20, I mean, it is sort of one thing. I'm really hoping a live guy doesn't win the tournament, though, to be perfectly honest. So sometimes it's a little tougher to jump on those guys. And as I say, love Scotty. Maybe we should be putting a big bet on Scotty, considering it worked at the Players and where he's at right now. I just can't wrap my head around a field like this, having a guy that's not even paying 5-1.
Yeah, plus 475 is such a short number for this field. It's like for some of the other fields that he's been in, that makes sense. But to have a similar number at the Masters, and we know he's won it, we get it. He's been phenomenal this season. He's been phenomenal for a while now. That's a tough pill to swallow. Here's the guys that I'm looking at, and then we'll get into some. So I got a couple long shots that we can get to as well. We'll look into some of these groups, some top 10s, some top 20s, that type of thing. Hideki, I'm with you guys on Hideki. It's a full unanimous Hideki play here from the Lock Shop. I don't need to add much more to Hideki. You guys have laid it out nicely for Hideki at 20-1. I am going to get on Xander here at 16-1. Outside of Scotty Scheffler, I'm not sure anybody's been as well-rounded right now than what Xander Schauffele has brought to the table. 8 tournaments this year. He's got 6 top 10. So he's been all around it. He hasn't won in his last 32 events, so you can make a legitimate case here that he's been playing so well. Plus, he's due to go out and get the job done. Xander at 16-1. I think he's one of the guys that can legitimately push Scotty. I got more on Xander a little bit later on when we look at some of these like top 10s, top 5s type of things as well. I got a couple other names here that have not come up yet so far. And we talked about it. I think Patty, you might have something on first timer to win it, because there's a lot of first timers here that could take a legitimate run who playing pretty well. One of them is Wyndham Clark. I mean, Clark's the 4th best golfer in the world right now. He's been outstanding so far this season. To get him at 33-1, considering what he's done on the tour so far this year, I just think that's a really good number. He's won a major. Like he's stepped up in these spots. To get Wyndham Clark at 33-1 right now compared to where he is, and now you're mixing in these live guys. I think it's really good value on Wyndham Clark. I also like that play for a first timer.
He should have had back-to-back wins if it wasn't for Scotty.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Remember, we were talking about that. He was heartbroken by Scotty twice.
In the history of the PGA Tour, for a guy to finish second in back-to-back weeks to a guy that repeated as the winner. And
I don't think like the moment's not too big for this guy. Nothing against the losses to Scotty Scheffler. Like
last year.
Yeah, Wyndham Clark's not getting rattled in this event. So I like Wyndham Clark at 33-1. Shane Lowry. I'm going to get on Shane Lowry here. I know Shane Lowry. I've seen his name pop up in the chat. Shane Lowry at 50-1. 4 straight top 25s of the Masters. Playing extremely well right now as well. So he's got the course history. He's got the form right now. He's been rolling. He had a 3rd at Bay Hill, T19 at Sawgrass as well. top 25 in the last 4 Masters, T3 and T16 the last 2 years. So Shane Lowry's been right around it, and you're getting him at 50-1. And he's playing well right now. So I really like Shane Lowry. I think I got him in a top. What do I got here? I got a top 10 at 3-1. I like that for Shane Lowry too. Top 10, 3-1, plus 300 on Shane Lowry there. And then the other one, sometimes when this guy name comes up, Huss will say, one of your guys, Dusty. But give me Russell Henley. I'm going to take Russell Henley at 66-1 in this event. T4 here last year and 2 top 5s in his last 3 starts. So he was in the mix here significantly last year. He's been all around it lately. The one thing, I was looking at it, strokes gained approach. I've got the numbers here in the past 24 rounds with how important it is, the iron play. Like Justin Ray was on the show this morning and he said, you refer to the Masters and Augusta as a second shot tournament. Like you've got to be great with your second shots. Strokes gained approach right now. Scotty Scheffler, this is over just the last 24 rounds. Obviously Scheffler's going to be at the top of this list. Plus 130. Corey Connors, the Canadian, plus 0.99. And number 3 on that list is Shane Lowry right now. So one of the metrics that you look at here, the approach, Shane Lowry's been all over it lately. So I like Shane Lowry. Another one of the things that I thought was kind of interesting, you guys would have saw this, but for the last 3 winners, which were Rahm, Scheffler, and Hideki, 91% of their scoring was done on the par 5s. Like you have to light up the par 5s here. And in the past year, par 5s, birdie or better percentage on par 5s, Wyndham Clark is at the top of that list. He's ahead of Scotty Scheffler on that list. So I think that's another case for Wyndham Clark as well. So I'm looking at Xander, 16-1, Hideki 20-1, Wyndham Clark 33-1. I kind of tried to move down through the tiers here. Shane Lowry at 51, and then Russell Henley at 66-1. I do have 2 long shots here, which would be like beyond the plus 10,000 mark. And one of them is a Canadian, Nick Taylor, who you can get head-to-head with Adam Hadwin, which I like. Nick Taylor minus 105 in the head-to-head against Hadwin. I like that. But Nick Taylor plus 12,500, 125-1. His approach game, which we just talked about, and his putting are both ranked in the top 8 of everybody in this field. And we talk about how crazy this field is, and his short game numbers are in the top 8 out of everybody, and you can get them at plus 12,500. And then just in case Sunday was a sign, I got to get on Denny McCarthy because I said at the beginning of the year, when you fire off the back 9 like you did, I know he put it in the drink in the playoff. Denny McCarthy plus 15,000 right now. So 150-1 on Denny McCarthy just in case that momentum carries over. So those are a couple of longer shots. I got some other top 10s and stuff. But Patty, what else you got? What else you got kicking around here? What else is on the board?
I think it's a great spot to pick up here with Shane Lowry because I love Shane Lowry in so many spots except for him to win. And if he wins, it's okay. I'm fine with it. Just Shane Lowry, especially this year, has hurt me just a bit too much. But I'd be fine with the big Irishman winning because I'm going to be on him, finish top 10. You mentioned that 3-1, phenomenal value. Top 20 is at plus 110 as well. So I like both those. And this is a bit of I don't know if I want to do this. I kind of like him to be the top Irishman and beat Rory McIlroy. I really do.
What's the number on that? What is the number on that one?
I do. Let me see if I can pull that up. I think it was when I saw it earlier this week. It was like plus 250 maybe. But I really like that one. Again, as a purist of golf, I don't know if I can do that. But I really like that one. You mentioned all the other things about Lowry. I know he only has a claret jug. He is kind of low-key a majors monster. He's finished in the top 5 in all 4 events before. You mentioned the weather as well, Huss. If the weather does get squirrely and he's playing in the rain, he'll have no problem with that. He's an Irishman. He's played in coastal weather. He's been played in rain. It's
a home game for Lowry if it's like that.
Exactly. Like he almost probably wants this to get.
Oh, he'll take a little bit of wet stuff. Yeah.
No doubt about that. So for him, top 10, top 20, and it's on the maybe list for him to be the top Irishman. Brooks Koepka, top 10, plus 160. Brooks wakes up, puts his pants on, and finishes in the top 10 of majors. That's just what he does. Hideki, we talked about him as well. Top 10 at plus 150. Top 20 at minus 154 is a little bit of a tough pill to swallow. But at one, part of me is like minus 150. If you add a couple of units to it, like that could be maybe one of your strongest plays for the week. Or do I just, because let's be honest, if I think he's going to win, there's a good chance he finishes in the top 10.
Top 10 plus 150, right? Like, yeah.
I'll probably just take the plus 150 and assume he's going to be there. Maybe a top 20 is a play for a parlay piece, which again, I'll get to a little bit later for some of mine there. So those are my favorite top finishings for that. Actually, I lied. One other one. Actually, this one kind of goes under grouping, so maybe I'll wait for that one.
Huss, what else you got for some top 10s, top 5s, top 20s here?
Okay, well, and I might fire out just with the time and knowing you guys have these other ones. I think I might just unload everything here right now because I am going to have to bust, and you guys can take a few of my picks and throw it in for a parlays because this is going to take a couple of minutes. So we've gone through the outrights. We've added Matthew Fitzpatrick this morning at 40-1. We then move on to maybe the biggest lock bet, I would say, of them all. I mean, if you were looking to make a significant wager on a guy that not necessarily to win, but to be there, we talked about Xander Schauffele, plus 130 on the top 10 for Xander. I could not be more confident that Xander is going to be right in the mix. So close at the players. Very consistent when he's been so far this year. And he is, for a guy that has not yet got an invite to the Champions Dinner, he's been as around it as anybody so far. So Xander in the top 10. I talked about Fitzpatrick. It was great, finishing up. He had a strong Sunday. I think he's got some momentum coming in. We've got him for an outright because I do believe he can win and will win this tournament at some point. But even money to place in the top 20 in a smaller field like this for Matty Fitz is another one that I've loved, and I put a bit of a larger one than we might normally put on that. So Matty Fitz at plus 100 or even money to finish in the top 20. We spent quite a bit of time talking about Hideki at plus 150, top 10 right now. That's another great number. As I say, I think we really do believe. Hey, if you can, by the way, Dusty, get up the groups for a minute, just because
I can grab the groups for you.
Group B. What are the who's in Group B again?
Okay, one sec. I just got to slide down here. Group B is at the bottom of the other. Where's Group B? Here we are. Group D. Oh, I have Group B open already. Koepka, Spieth, Neiman, Auberg, and Hovland.
Hovland not trending well. Oberg first time up. To me, this is Brooks, and the fact that it's plus 320 on Brooks as opposed to plus 200 or something like that. All due respect to the other guys. Of all of the group bets, this was my favorite one, and as I said, I've got a lot of time for Brooks potentially winning. I don't mind Brooks as the top live golfer as well, although John Rahm obviously is the shortest number for obvious reasons. But Brooks in that Group B, if you compare it to the other options, I like that one the best with the number that's laid out. Matty Fitzpatrick as well. This is a common name. I really kind of dove in on him, liking him today. Top Englishman at plus 175. There's plenty of options there. There's a couple guys that absolutely could go off. I think he's the class of that field right now. And if you think a guy can win and you're confident he's in the top 20, you look around those other players. We're going to jump on him as the top Englishman. Now, you guys mentioned Oberg, there's been a lot of steam on him. As if I am not betting Akshay as the top debutant in this tournament after last week. It's because of him that we have this extra scratch to splash all over the board. So at plus 750, this was about as much of an auto bet as possible. And hey, I'll tell you what, he's playing well. And we say top debutant. He has played this course before as a 14-year-old or something like that. Now, I'm not sure whether he's got a lot of course knowledge from that. But
Drive Chip and Putt Championship.
he's on it right now. So I mean, this was an auto bet. Akshay plus 750 for the top debutante. Speaking of which, again, almost on principle, Akshay versus Denny McCarthy tournament head-to-head. You know who I'm rolling with. Akshay at minus 110. This is even, but like basically a pick'em on either side. Just a straight up head-to-head tournament bet. Akshay versus Denny McCarthy. I like that one as well. We do have, there's some interesting Tiger specials that you might want to get into. Plus 250. Tiger to make the cut, but finish outside of the top 30. I'm in on that.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And then I finished it off with a three matchup round one parlay. Hideki over JT, Scotty Scheffler over Rory, Siwoo Kim over Grillo. All of those guys are minus 147 individually. Parlayed together, it comes up to plus 374. So there is the rest of the Masters card, guys. And when if you're building a parlay, count me in for Hideki, top 10 or top 20. We've talked a lot about, I guess the one guy that I'm sort of on that you guys aren't if we're looking at someone else, Matty Fitz, even money in the top 20. I mean, I love that one as well. And Xander top 10 all day long, plus 130. Any of those can be used as my pick. And I'll tell you what, if you even want to talk about a Corey Connors top 20, I would be in on that too if we want a little Canadian content. We talked about the strokes gained. His history here has been phenomenal. We'll see how he can do going forward. But fellas, I will let you guys take her home. Good luck to everybody. Make sure to click that Masters contest thing when you're popping in, or the majors, I should say. And just imagine Matty Fitzpatrick wins and the Huss first place with 800 points on the leaderboard on Monday.
Huss,
because I'm in.
Safe travels home, man. And myself and Jake will take you through the lock shop tomorrow. Huss is going to jet. We're going to give you the keyword right now for the EST flyway to Vegas. Patty and I'll get set up on a two.
Tourney, boys.
Yeah, you too, man.
The tourney. Good luck, everyone.
Pat and I'll get set up on a 2-shot, and we'll take her home the rest of the way. Let me give you the keyword for the EST flyway to Vegas. We're giving somebody a chance to win a trip to Vegas. Trip for 2, nonstop flights, 3 nights accommodations, tickets to a Cirque show. Today's keyword here on the Lock Shop. All you have to do is text us to 780-218-9999. 780-218-9999. Today's keyword is prop. Perfect timing for this. Send prop right now to the inbox. PROP. Text the word prop to 780-218-9999. Got about 5-6 minutes to hop in there as we wrap this episode. 780-218-9999. Text the word prop to the inbox right now to get in the mix for the EST Flyway to Vegas with Fly YEG. I mean, we got the parlay that we can certainly get to. A couple other things that I've got here as well. So Nick Taylor, minus 105 to beat Hadwin. So I like Taylor. I mentioned earlier, some of the statistical categories he ranks very high in that you would look to seeing some success to. So I like Taylor at minus 105 to beat Hadwin head-to-head in this thing. Everybody's got a piece of Bhatia. So do I. Top lefty at 2-1. Top lefty at plus 200. This basically comes down to a Bhatia versus Brian Harman play. That's it. Nothing against Mike Weir. Nothing against Lefty himself, but that's kind of what this comes down to. So, Bhatia, top lefty at this event, 2-1, and Hideki, and I know it's a pretty strong field, but Hideki, the top Asian golfer at this event, plus 150 there as well. Before we build the parlay, what else do you? I know you got more kicking around there, Pete Greg. What else do you have?
I've got more for sure. A couple that Huss already talked about. Bhatia, top debutante. I like your lefty play. It's not official play, but it definitely was thinking it. I'll probably now add it to my card. I love that Tiger made the cut, but outside of the top 30. I think he's going to start hot. I just, as we've seen so many times, we talked about it on Monday's show. The most difficult thing for Tiger during an Augusta weekend at the Masters is the walking.
Yeah.
I just don't know if his body can last. I think he makes the cut. I just think come Saturday, come Sunday, it's going to fall apart for him. Debutant to win, plus 800. There've only been 3 debutants to win the Masters. And the last time back in 1979, Fuzzy Zoeller. I think this might be the year that trend
So
is
many
finally
talented golfers making their debuts here, buddy.
Is this not the best rookie class of that you've seen at Augusta before?
I usually don't even remember talking about the rookie classes. You know what I mean? Like they usually don't have this much hype coming in. It's just that simple.
It's crazy. And the fact that you have a guy like Ludwig Aberg, who is like a generational talent, like this guy has the potential to be a world number 1 at one point. You have a guy like Wyndham Clark, who is young and upcoming, but he's really not that young and that upcoming. It's just he's now starting to play his best golf. He already has a major under his belt, a major victory under his belt. You have Bhatia, of course, that helps as well. Denny McCarthy in there as well. So guys that, again, there's just such a who's list of these rookies. And plus the fact I don't have a piece of Wyndham or Aberg to win, I will be so upset, especially being such an Aberg guy, although I think I'm going to bet him as that number comes back up. And Wyndham Clark, a guy that I've talked about him being maybe etching his name in that next tier. If one of those guys were to win, I don't know what I'd be able to do with myself. So that's my way to get a piece. The other one that I like, and I've already talked about Lowry, him to lead after the first round, 35-1. I talked about how I love everything about him except his ability to finish. I don't need him to finish. All I need him to finish is at the top of the leaderboard after day 1. He's finished inside the top 10 at Augusta after round 1 3 times, including a solo 2 in 2016. He's done it inside the top 3 at the Open Championship. And listen to Lowry's last 7 opening rounds: 69, 71, 66, 67, 67, 66, 67.
Ooh.
Yes, I know.
Ooh.
This is Augusta. It's going to be tougher. But this is a guy that starts hot, I should say. I really like him. I don't need to convince you. So I've got a lot of Lowry. I think even if he is to win, I have so much elsewhere that I think all those props together, keyword prop, remember?
Yeah.
It's over on that side. Keyword prop, I do think that's going to help there. Quickly, I'll go over my Greggy's golf special.
Yep.
Because we've got a parlay to make. And I think it's shaping up.
I think it's coming together. There's some fine tuning, but I think I know where we're headed.
I think so too. So this one's a little bit of a lower number, but a low risk, high reward, or high risk, low reward. But I still like the number here. Koepka, Aberg, Lowry, Matsuyama, all to make the cut, plus 170. The fact that there was a plus in front of this, I was surprised. I thought it was going to be about even money. Really good bet there. My favorite one here, Scotty, top 10, Theegala, top 20, and Bhatia to make the cut, plus 400. And then my last one here, Clark, Hovland, Neiman, all to finish in the top 20. This is more of a ceiling play. If all 3 of these guys play like we know they can play, there's no way these 3 guys don't finish inside the top 20. That one's 14-1. So those are my parlays. I think we got to make a parlay here, and I think it's coming together nicely.
Yeah, we do. I mean, Hideki's going to be involved in this. Right, yep. All 3 of us are on Hideki, yep. So let's get some names, and we can figure out. I like Shane Lowry a ton. I love Shane. You've mentioned Shane Lowry. I love Shane Lowry as well. Huss laid out a few picks that he liked as well. Fitzy.
I think you guys both are high on the X-Man too, right?
We are. Like I was looking at it, and I'm thinking, where do we come out on like something with Lowry, Hideki, and Xander? Where do we want to go? What do you think? Like, we pick one of them to go top 10, 2 top 20s, or do we want to get crazy and go 2 top 10s? Like, I'm not sure about that.
I think that might be a little bit risky.
Yeah,
I think Lowry's the odd man out.
So,
I think we put him top 20.
Yeah.
I think X-Man or Hideki. We have to choose. Which one do we like better in that top 10 spot? I mean, me personally, so obviously I'm all in Hideki. Xander's just a guy that I just don't see him getting over that hump. And if he does, I'll be so happy for him.
Yeah.
It's just, you mentioned it, the 32 rounds, but we don't need him to win this tournament.
We don't need him to win. I mean, just to finish top 10 if we decide to go top 10. But look, we are all on Hideki. So let's make Hideki the top 10 guy, and then go Xander and Lowry top 20. And that'll be the lock shop partner parlay for the Masters. I like it. I like it a lot.
I love
that's
that
good.
I love that one.
That's excellent stuff. All right, man. Well, I mean, who knows? Whatever your schedule is on Friday, if you want to pop by for a little bit, we could kind of dive into the first couple of rounds or first round and a half. We could definitely do that.
I will mention, I mean, we could talk about live odds and wagering because we are offering live bets for the entire Masters. So we'll have some live odds, whether it's just, the leaderboard outrights. We'll also have some head-to-head live betting, some 3-4 holes type of stuff as well too. So keep your eyes peeled on the live feed. We will have that. So, I mean, I would love to pop by. We can talk about what's happened, and then we can look forward to the
weekend too. All right, man. We'll put it in the schedule. We'll make that happen. Patty, great show today, man. I love it. Enjoy tomorrow.
Love it.
Enjoy tomorrow.
Thanks for having me.
God, that's going to be good. That's Pat Gregoire. Find him on Twitter at P. Greggy. We are going to get to our qualifier, and then Oil Stream's going to be fired up right away. I'm talking like I'll take a quick leak, and then we get going with the game day episode of the Oil Stream, brought to you by Boston Pizza. All right, Zach's who's our qualifier here in the lock shop today?
Surveyor Brett.
Surveyor Brett. My God, is this the first time he's qualified? All right, let's go. Surveyor Brett, congratulations, buddy.
Oh, finally. I thought Matthew Iwanek was gatekeeping the qualifiers from me.
I wouldn't be surprised if he was. Have you been to Vegas, man?
We went once in 2020, right before the pandemic.
Oh, right before the pandemic hit. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
we went to Oilers game and saw the sights.
Did you check out any Cirque shows?
No.
All right. Well, you will this time if you end up winning this trip, because we're including a Cirque show thanks to the LVCVA down in Vegas. Best of luck, man. You're one step closer.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
There you go. Surveyor Brett, lucky guy today. On the way next, another chance here on the Oil Stream to qualify as well. We will get to that coming up. Game day episode, Connor McDavid, questionable game time decision. We'll get into all of that with Tommy Gazzola as we get you ready for the Oilers and the Vegas Golden Knights, and a big one tonight down at Rogers Place. Should be a lot of fun. Masters shows. You can't go wrong. These are always very entertaining. I love it. I can't wait. Let's tee things off at the Masters. Thank you very much for joining us in Lock Shop today. Good luck tonight. We'll talk to you tomorrow.